around my city and joining my city to the spawn point. And once I've done that, what I'm basically doing is encouraging people to build towards my city, because all the roads lead that way. Oh, I need more cobblestone. And then what happens is, my part of the server, or the part of the server around my builds, become more developed and more urbanized. And whereas the other parts of the server become less, or they become more neglected. You see what's going on? Like when I do that? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wrong button. So, I mean, it has impacts on the server beyond just the road. And I'm pretty sure most people aren't thinking about that. Or they don't realize that they should be thinking about that. And you know, I'm not the only one who has cities, to be honest. A few other people have started towns and villages and cities. And they always have a lot of trouble trying to convince people to move in or to build in the cities, and they have trouble getting it up and running, so to speak. And I really don't think they realize that all they need to do is build a road out there, and people will come. Like I said earlier that me and my road building has become a sort of a running joke on the server. It's a joke because people don't understand exactly how powerful it is to build roads. Like how much you can influence the development of the server by strategically placing roads. And I just read you the parts of the Wikipedia article on urban planning. The whole concept of urban planning is building roads, right? Like this is not a joke, not really. Although you might think it's funny that I seem to be so obsessed about roads. It's actually quite serious. Like the design of roads, and how that impacts on the design of cities, and how even in Minecraft it impacts on how the server develops and what it becomes in the future. Really depends on where you put the roads, believe it or not. Anyway, that's something about urban design. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of just rambling a bit, trying to explain the importance of urban design. And it's just that really I'm aware that people don't understand what urban design even is. Let's see, this part's kind of complicated because this is kind of flat thing. I guess there would be a mountain over here, except that we've cut it off with the chunk boundary. What else do I want to say about server and architecture and urban design? Not too much really. You guys really should read or try to understand the concept of urban design and cities and whatnot. Now this part, where should I put the tower? I can put the tower all the way at sea level, which is here. And in fact, it would make sense because it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks. Basically, half of it will be down here. Alright, I think here I'll excavate all the way down to sea level, which is 64 right here. Just because on the other side it will seem to be on top of a hill, but on this side you see how the tower is going to be almost on ground level. Let me just excavate all of this and try to think. I'm kind of losing track of what I'm trying to say as well. Well, I guess about my own single player world. I mean, you see there's no roads. I built a few bridges, but I travel along certain paths between the main builds. So between my courtyard and the statues, between my courtyard and the fireworks, between the courtyard and the skyscraper. Like there are certain paths that I travel along all the time. So in my mind, there are actually roads on my map, except that I'm not, I haven't identified them yet, that's all. It doesn't mean that I don't have roads, it just means that I haven't quite shown you what I consider to be roads in my own mind, if that makes sense. That should be okay. That's enough light, I think. Let's put a torch here. Alright, we're just gonna start digging. So if you've seen the map before, I guess if you haven't, you might have trouble visualizing this. So there's the courtyard in the middle. In the southeast, there's the statues. In the southwest, there's the hollow mountain. To the east, there's the skyscraper. To the northeast is like an ocean, or like a giant body of water, which I don't really know what to do about. To the northwest is the fireworks. So you see I've got these landmarks on the corners, on the four corners of the boundary, within the boundary. And so basically I'm organizing my map around that. And oops. And I'll be building the roads between them because they'll become the destinations for the roads. The only reason I haven't... Actually, I think I'll do that soon. I mean, I'm doing the wall now. And who knows how long this is going to take because I'm playing multiplayer most of the time. But I do think I'll build the roads fairly soon because I built some roads in the sapling server, as I've said. So I do think I kind of understand what I want to do with the roads. Maybe, I'll figure it out. And once I put that in, then maybe the way I've organized my map in my mind will become more apparent to you guys. Because then you can just see it, organized around the roads. Ow. I think I've run out of things to say. Maybe I'll stop recording for a bit and come back either when I've got all these foundations done or when I think of something else to say. Yeah, I don't know. How many of you guys actually read? I think you'll learn quite a bit if you go to that Wikipedia article on urban planning and just look it up and read it. It's fairly long, but I think it's a fairly good introduction to just the concepts of urban planning. Because, I haven't seen anyone in the comments or on the server demonstrate a good knowledge of urban planning. You guys just don't think about it. And it's not your fault. I'm not saying that it's like, oh, you're dumb. I'm not saying that, because most people don't think about urban planning. It's one of those things that, as I said, people take for granted because it's not something they have to do themselves. Like, people have to... people generally don't build their own houses, but they live in their own houses and they modify their own houses. Like, they renovate and things. So, they understand the design of buildings. They understand even offices and shops. They kind of understand those because they use them every day. Like, people use roads every day, but not the way planners understand roads. A planner will look at a map, whereas most people, like, you look at a map to see where you want to go. When you look at the map, you don't see the functioning of the city in the map. Well, most people don't, because they're not trained to do that. But if you can do that, and I look at the map of the server a lot as well. I look at the map of my own world in single player, and the sapling server, whenever Erno gets back to fixing it, there's a live map there as well, and I look at that all the time. And when I look at it, I see where people's builds are, I see where landmarks are, like bodies of water, mountains. I see where it would make sense to put it the roads, because it would be joining together places where other people have already built things. So I see, when I look at the map, I start planning the city, or I start planning the world. Whereas most people might not do that, because they're just not familiar with doing that. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, is this important? Like, I think it is. I think basically your Minecraft experience, whether it's on whether it's on the sapling server or it's a single player or whatever it is, I think you'll end up with better builds if you understand urban planning. Even if you don't participate in building the city, just understanding the relationship between your builds and other people's builds, if it's a multiplayer, or if it's single player, just understanding the relationship between one build and the next. You'll end up with a more coherent, more organized world. Anyway, I don't. Maybe if you have questions, you can write in the comments, ask me questions. I'm always open to answering questions about that sort of stuff. If you want to learn more, if you have any ideas. Alright, I guess I'll leave it here. If I think of anything else to say, I'll come back. Yeah. Alright, I've thought of something else to talk about. I don't know how many of you guys have played SimCity. I've played SimCity 2000 and I've played SimCity 4. I haven't played the first one and I haven't played the third one or anything else, but in SimCity what you do is you build roads. You build roads and then you define the zones, either residential, industrial or commercial zones. And then if you have the roads, if you have electricity, I think you need electricity as well. You don't really need water, but you should have water. So once you hook up the utilities, then people will build the city, or the city automatically builds itself in the game. And again, we're going back to the importance of roads. Basically, in SimCity, the roads pretty much defines the city, although I guess the other utilities are also important. But the reason it's like that in the game is because it's like that in real life. I see wood planks. I don't know how many of you guys have seen a new suburb being built, or a new part of town being built. Maybe if you have a car, you can drive out there or something to wherever. Well, maybe if you're in the States, you might have some problems because the economy is not so good. But if you go to where a new city is being built or a new suburbs being built, you'll see, they put in the roads first, or they'll put in the sewage, the water, electricity, along with the roads, and then they put in the street lights, and then they just sell the land to developers, and the developers will deal with the rest. They'll build the houses and so on and so forth. The roads always go in first. The roads always goes in first, and the roads define the city, basically, because that's what planning basically is. I mean, urban planning or urban design is, I guess urban design is slightly different. Mostly urban planning is deciding what goes where, and in defining, well, in placing roads, you basically define the boundaries of the different things in the city. You know what I mean? I don't know. I keep going on about roads. It's, yeah. As I said, like, most people won't find it immediately relevant to them because they're not city planners. And the city planners and the government, oh crap. The government usually, takes care of that. And you don't have to think about it usually. But if you play games like SimCity or other city building games, there's not that many good city building games, unfortunately. But if you do that, then you get to play the planner, and then you'll figure out how cities are planned. And see, that's the thing, like that's how things work in real life. Most people who play Minecraft don't realize that. And oh wait, I'm supposed to I'm supposed to do this. And so, like, on the Minecraft server, you'll find people putting down the buildings, and then before they put down the roads, if they ever put down roads, chances are they'll never put down any roads at all. And then you just get a mess of buildings. And I don't want to sound like I'm dissing people's builds. I'm not. Like the individual buildings are, you know, they're of varying quality. Some people are better builders than others. But that's not the point. The point is, you know, they're not arranged in any way that makes sense. Often people just put them wherever they feel like. Some people might like to build on a hill. Some people build by the water. See, without the roads, people arrange themselves according to various features in the landscape. But that doesn't necessarily make it good. And I seem like a complete hypocrite, don't I? Because I'm just building things around the place without building roads as well. I do seem like a complete hypocrite. But I'm not. But I'm not, because I'm thinking about the roads. I haven't built them yet, and I haven't actually shown you what I'm thinking about. But it's always at the back of my head that I'm going to build roads around here eventually. Did I do that right?